Imagine stepping outside for 5 minutes and never coming back. Not because you got kidnapped or attacked or unlucky. Because 50,000 years ago, one wrong turn was a life sentence with no possibility of parole. No note, no search party, no one ever finding out what happened to you. Just a very confused group of friends and eventually a much better fed predator. That's not exaggeration, it's just how it worked. Getting lost wasn't, "I'll be 10 minutes late." It was how you became a story people told badly around a fire for the next 40 years. No helicopter was coming, no friend texting, "Where are you?" with two question marks, like that would have helped. Early humans had no roads, no signs, and definitely no "turn left in 200 meters." Landmarks if you were lucky, fog if you weren't. And fog is nature's way of saying, "Let's make this worse." They were still remarkable navigators, memorizing rivers, star positions, animal trails, and a running list of places that would get them eaten. Getting lost wasn't embarrassing. It was a death sentence with a short delay for regret. The hippocampus, responsible for spatial memory, grew larger in people who navigated complex terrain. Remember the landscape? Survive. Forget it. Become a lesson for everyone else. That pressure lasted 200,000 years until we got Google Maps and let it handle everything. When memory wasn't enough, humans looked up. The stars were fixed, reliable, and free. The original navigation system nobody had to install or pay a subscription for. The Polynesians looked at the same sky and said, "We can do better." Long before compasses, before maps, before Europeans could reliably cross the Mediterranean, the Polynesians had already settled every major island in the Pacific. 1,000 islands, 10,000 miles of open water, 0 instruments. They read wave patterns, wind shifts, the behavior of birds 200 miles from land, and the color of the water above a reef. This part sounds made up, but is completely real. They could feel the direction of a destination island by lying on the floor of the canoe and reading the ocean's swells through their body. Not a metaphor. They lay in the bottom of a boat, in the middle of the ocean, and felt where they were going. In 1769, Captain Cook, then commanding the world's most advanced navy, met the Polynesian navigator Tupaya. Tupaya sat down and drew a map from memory. 130 islands, 2,500 miles of ocean, more accurate than Cook's own charts. The Royal Navy had just been out-navigated by a man lying on the floor of a boat. Cook hired him on the spot. Eventually, humans decided to write the world down, a great idea in theory. In practice, early maps were confident guesses with artistic flourishes. In 1300, a monk in Hereford finished what he believed was a definitive map of the world. Jerusalem in the center, Britain shoved into the bottom corner roughly the size of a postage stamp, sea monsters labeled as geographic features, and one entire region marked simply, "Here be lions." Not danger, not unknown territory. Lions has navigational advice. The Hereford Mappa Mundi is the size of a dining table, genuinely beautiful and almost useless for getting anywhere because it was never meant to. It was a religious diagram of the universe that happened to have coastlines. For 1,000 years, the most detailed map on Earth had England in a corner and lions on the coast. The compass changed that eventually. It was invented in China around the 9th century, and the Chinese used it first for feng shui, not navigation, interior design. The one tool that would later enable global exploration spent its first 300 years helping people decide which way the sofa should face, while somewhere a European sailor was still drowning in the Mediterranean. When the compass finally reached European sailors in the 12th century, it rewired ocean travel overnight, a fixed north in fog, in storms, at 3 in the morning in the middle of the Atlantic. The invention that led to Europe discovering, colonizing, and rearranging the planet spent its early career picking out furniture. Then there's the ocean, the original version of, "We probably shouldn't have done this." On land, getting lost is dangerous but recoverable. You follow a river, find a hill, look for smoke. On the open sea, there's nothing. Water, water, more water. Sailors navigated by dead reckoning, tracking speed, direction, and time to guess their position. It sounds scientific. It was wrong often enough that the sea seemed to find it funny. Nobody illustrates this better than Sir John Franklin. In 1845, he led 2 ships and 129 men into the Canadian Arctic to find the Northwest Passage. Best ships in the Royal Navy. Iron-reinforced hulls. 3 years of supplies. A huge send-off with cheering crowds. They were never seen again. It took 170 years of search parties, notes, and abandoned gear to piece together what happened, a trail of decisions that made progressively less sense. A note found in 1859 said the ships had been trapped in ice for 18 months. Franklin was dead, and the surviving crew was walking to the nearest settlement. That settlement was 1,000 miles away, through the Arctic, in winter. For decades, the theory was lead poisoning. The tins were brand new, sealed with lead solder, and 18 months of eating from them was cooking the crew's judgment. Newer bone analysis complicates that. Some of the lead predates the voyage, so ordinary Victorian life or the ship's own plumbing may share the blame. Either way, by the time that walk started, their brains had likely been running on low-grade poison for years. Franklin, in fairness, died on the ship early, which was arguably the best outcome available to anyone on that trip. Today, in your pocket, a device linked to satellites orbiting thousands of miles overhead. It knows which street you're on, which side of the street, how long the drive will take, and it still occasionally drives someone into a lake. The Polynesians read the ocean with their bodies. Franklin's crew had dead reckoning and a slow health crisis. You have satellites and a voice telling you to turn left, and people still miss their exit thinking about lunch. Franklin's crew would understand for very different reasons. Here's the part that isn't funny. People who rely heavily on GPS show measurably reduced activity in the hippocampus, the exact part of the brain that grew larger in humans who navigated for 200,000 years. London taxi drivers, who spend years memorizing 25,000 streets for a test called the knowledge, have measurably larger hippocampi than average people. Retire, start using GPS like everyone else, and it shrinks back. Not a metaphor, the organ physically shrinks. We didn't solve getting lost, we outsourced the part of the brain that used to solve it, and the brain, being efficient, stopped bothering. Somewhere in the Canadian Arctic, there's a cairn holding a note. 129 men walking confidently in the wrong direction, half poisoned, certain they'd be fine. Centuries earlier, somewhere in the Pacific, Tapaya is lying on the floor of a canoe, feeling the ocean, knowing exactly where he is. One had empire and the best instruments money could buy. The other had a boat, a body, and the sense to pay attention. We became the ones with all the instruments, and we still miss the exit.